Hi, I'm Michelle from Michelle's Romantic Tangle, and I'd like you to come thrifting with me today while I drool over neat things I do not need, like this transparent owl cookie jar and typewriters, because even though I have 4 or 5 at the house already, I always love the typewriters. And just all the pretty shiny things that are out there. So I made a list, and we live about an hour away from the grandparents and the library. And just on the route I normally take without deviating too much, there are 20 different thrift stores. If I go further south or farther north, I don't know what the number goes up to, but there are a lot. And I love going and looking. I'm not buying much these days, but it's fun to look, and I have a short list of things that if I do find them and the price is right, they're coming home with me. I don't know why I want to paint my number kit. Realistically, I should get one of the ones that the kids had years ago and forgot about because they're not going to paint them. And if they decided they did want to paint them, I could always replace the one I used. The store had more fabric than I'm used to seeing, and compared to brand new fabric, the prices weren't bad, but boy, they're higher than they used to be. Some upholstery fabric that would make fun somethings for someone. I could think of a something, but I was being good and watching the budget. A stamped cross stitch is what that was. I think the kit was complete, but if I loved teddy bears, I could find so many more kits. I swear these are the same sewing machines that they have had for months. They either don't move or they replace them with machines just like them. That is not the same black machine that has been there. And while we are on the subject of sewing machines, just look at Ruby. I can't pass a treadle sewing machine without opening it up and peeking in the drawers, and the drawers were full. And there's that crazy moment when you want to spend $114 on a treadle sewing machine so you can have all the old bric-a-brac that is in the drawers. I'm a somewhat sane person, and I know that I have 2 treadle sewing machines already. I know neither of them cost anywhere near that much, and that I already have a lot of nifty old sewing bric-a-brac. I hope that someone brings this home and loves it. I don't know if it would work. My son reminded me to check for bobbins. They're not there. And am I the only one who just loves the mechanism that raises and lowers these old things? The pine cone basket was real pine cones. It was amazingly heavy. I could have found a place for that in my life. But I am good and restrained, and I didn't. I could find places for so many of these baskets if I didn't remind myself to be good and restrained, but that's the first pine cone basket that I've seen. This one looks sparkly because of the way the light was going through, but it wasn't sparkly in real life. And I most definitely was not tempted by the old sewing basket, picnic basket, whatever that was. I love all of this old wooden sort of historical bric-a-brac like that apple press planter that you just got a brief glimpse at, and kind of like the idea of the wishing well coasters more than I like the actual wishing well coasters. I've got to stop looking at the crock pots. I have a crock pot and a pressure cooker and all of the things. Would you buy a vacuum cleaner from the thrift store? I hadn't thought about it until I was replaying this video, and that seems like another thing that would be on my short list of no's. 8-track tapes are very hard to explain to a 13-year-old. Aside from it's what we had before we had cassette tapes, because they have cassette tapes, but 8-track tapes, I think they were going out by the time I was a kid. And I kind of like this one that's somebody's mixtape that they made back when I was really little. We had a bunch of tapes, or 8-track tapes my dad had recorded, and they were really old songs, all of the 50s, 60s. I love the prices of the books at this store. They had the paperbacks 10 for $1, and they had cookbooks 10 for $1. I love old cookbooks. The older, the better. There's something about them makes my heart go pitty-pat. I found some stitches I did not save, but the sentiment and the style are not my taste, but just look at that framing job. I mean, she was doing the Priscilla and Chelsea thing before Priscilla and Chelsea, I bet. To my friend Nancy, love Jan, I am going to hope that Nancy and Jan did not have a falling out and that this came to the thrift store without any sadness or drama that we like to project on the stitches. I kind of regret not buying these painted trees. The not round rounds that they were painted on were kind of crumbly and they were ugly, but they were 99 cents and they were just neat. I'm looking for another round frame that will be the right side for the hedgehogs, having no luck. More cross stitch I did not save. That poor piece was so filthy. One of these days I'm going to take the time to go through all the frames and see if there's more stitching hiding there, but this wasn't the day. Another one of my one of these days goals, I'm going to buy myself a set of nice china to replace my dollar store plates with. Won't be from this store because I know where to get it cheaper. Months ago, we saw an estate sale that was a teddy bear hoarder's sale. I wrote about it on the blog, and I'll post a link down in the description. I think that these might be bears from that sale. Sadly, she wasn't a belle. If she'd been a belle, I probably would have brought her home. Cornucopia, that one's ceramic. And I found these figurines unreasonably disturbing. Another of these jewelry boxes that I'm wondering if you couldn't use to finish a project. Can you get the stitching out of those? Does anyone know? There was another shelf of cookbooks, and I did bring home, I think 7 or 8 of them, old church spiral-bound cookbooks. Prize-winning recipes from around the world. And a Nesco 6-quart. I'm not sure a Nesco 6-quart what, but I guess I'm going to find out for a dime. Over the weekend, we had gone to an estate sale. It was the last couple of hours and everything was free, so we left with a huge armload of cookbooks, most of them my husband's choices. So I can't take the blame for those. I did buy one cross stitch magazine because I'm not sure if I have this one. And this boy with the basket of flowers and the squirrel on the string is just something I need to stitch. I did not buy embroidery floss. I'm probably going to kick myself, but I'm telling myself I bought a ton of embroidery floss last month. I had a ton already. If I had known what those silk threads were worth or what they sold for new, I probably would have maybe bought those. I'm trying to watch my spending, and sometimes that's not fun. I've got rules. If I find an out-of-print dimensions kit, that is coming home with me, but there will always be more DMC. That was a heck of a haul of DMC that somebody is going to love. Thanks for joining me. I'm Michelle from Michelle's Romantic Tangle, and I'll be back thrifting with you soon. What did you buy this week at your thrift stores?